This meeting is being recorded. Good to see everybody. I'm happy it's Wednesday. Time to connect, time to catch you up on all kinds of things that have been going on this week since last Wednesday. We'll have reports from different people, but let me just give you a little bit of an insight into the things that have been brewing. You know about much of this because of the announcements that are made to the whole system. So we'll have an opportunity to talk a little bit about them and you can ask questions. I may not always have a lot of answers about anything because as you know, things are in progress and very fluid, but we will have opportunities to talk a little bit. So updates on a few things. First of all, I want to say that we are working as an institution, as a college, very, very hard to reach out to students to make sure they turn in paperwork that they need to turn in, that they get their health clearances taken care of. We're using social media. If you remember the CAC, you got that notice from Joanne this morning, giving you just some of the data on what we're doing with social media, thanks to Sheldon and Alfie and Lisa Yamamoto, who are putting the word out through social distancing, trying to get students to get their things done. Roman did a I guess it's a piece on TV to talk about enrollments. MKC folks are helping out. Sheldon is going to be organizing sign waving if Hurricane Doug doesn't wash everybody away on Monday. Miriam and Jamie and Francis are helping, trying to clear the health holds. There's people doing a lot of work outside of their own work to help everybody else out. So I got to tell you how appreciative I am, and the college will be, for all of the extra work that everybody's doing. Noel folks are doing Zoom walk-in times to allow students to come in. We did 2 Zoom sessions last week with the help of Sheldon and Alfie and Jerry and parents and students, 200 of them on a lot of questions, a lot of opportunities to answer those. So thank you, all of you, for very much appreciated. Let's see. There's consultations going on about beyond the COVID. You saw that the Board of Regents resolution was rescinded and the letter to the governor was held back as a result of hours and hours of public testimony last week, as well as written testimony. So they're still working on that part of it. CARES 1 funding, second round is out for 6 credits or more with the FAFSA complete. There's also a new scholarship that was just announced today. It's called the Kulia Scholarship, or terminated or laid off to a community college to take courses, $500 for them to have the first course and fees and books paid for. Let's see. There's also students who wish to be in a bubble. Of that is still under discussion. Can have a COVID negative test. They can be waived from quarantine if they come only to UH campuses for activities. They don't have to do the 14-day mandatory quarantine if they get here with a negative test. Or they can get a negative test in the first 48 hours after arrival. But there's all kinds of other conditions, and you may have read all of those in the announcement. Still, the system is trying to figure out how to get the information, track the students, make sure they're complying. So this is all still in flux. If faculty are getting questions from international students, please ask them just to email hic@hawaii.edu for the best advice possible. Don't let the faculty feel that they're required to answer questions that they may not have the best answers for. So redirect any international students to hic@hawaii.edu for the best answers. There were questions also about the DOE is kind of chaotic right now, and there's actually lots of pressure for them to delay opening, at least from HSTA, saying that the schools aren't ready. But it appears that principals have opportunities to really make their own rules up about a lot of different things, and that might create havoc for employees and for students. There are questions about, can I bring my kid to campus because I'm not going to be able to have childcare because of the DOE schedule? And the answer I would like to give is no. We're going to have real concerns about social distancing with our employees and our students, and to have the little ones on campus as well would just make things very crazy. If an employee has need to take care of children at home and they can work from home, then they should work from home and care for their kids at home. If students have childcare issues, they should try to be in online classes or make arrangements with faculty for making up work if their kids are home because of DOE. If it's employees who need to take care of kids at home, but they cannot work from home, please ask them to talk to HR about FFCRA, which is a special kind of leave, family first, COVID-related assistance. And that should be helpful. Okay, I see questions already. Updates regarding requirements for F2F attendance. I don't know. I don't know. Is Sean or Joe, can you answer that question? Has any information gone to international students about the changes in the guidance?
Hi, this is Eugene from Honda International Center.
Hi, Eugene.
Hi. So we're working on a letter to SCVP, and we're gonna send it to the Chancellor you for your signature. So what we're gonna do, and we had the discussion among the DSOs, and we kind of came up with the agreement that because our school is opening, we're not fully closed, we cannot go fully online. However, because of the ratio of the online classes are offering, we are agreed that we are going to have students, international students, to take one in-person or hybrid class, and rest of them can be online classes. So we're going to draft a letter, and after we get a signature from Chancellor, and we're going to send it to SCVP. And so we're going to operate for fall. All international students can take one in-person or hybrid, and rest of them can online.
Okay, because I'm getting some kind of messages that they need to show something when they come in for customs and immigration.
That was another issue when the first fall guidance came up, because Trump and administration, they said school cannot be completely online. And if school is completely online, student will need to either transfer out or go back to their home country. Because fall guidance is rescinded, we don't have to indicate that our school is offering hybrid or in-person class. So that indication doesn't have to be on the I-20 anymore.
Okay. But seems like some students don't know that.
Yeah, we're gonna send an email out to all the students after we send, because we wanted to send the letter to SCVP first, and let the student know the with all the updates.
Okay. Thank you. Couple of presentations. So first, in spring 20, we did surveys of the students and surveys of the faculty, asking them, how did it go? What worked, what didn't work? And we've given you the student survey, and Kara is here to give you the faculty survey. So let me see. Somebody can help, can they share screens? Because I don't have control of this meeting, much as I'd like to, but.
It sounds like you have control of the meeting, so.
Yeah, but I don't have control. I can't give anybody access. It's all an illusion.
I'm able to share my screen, so I can get started. Thank you so much, everybody. So as I begin, I just want to extend my mahalo for all the positive feedback around the student survey. So thank you for your encouragement with that. And today, faculty survey, you'll notice it's a bit more complicated and a bit more detailed. So just take a moment to take it all in and let me know if you have any questions in the chat, and I'll probably get to it after I'm done going through a few of the slides. So to start with, you can see here the formatting is very similar to what I had before. And that's where you have the contents right here, so you just flip to what's most relevant to you. A theme that emerged, I think, is just this idea of clarity and communication. So we're seeking that communication with each other and with our students, regardless of our position on the campus. I do want to note that although faculty said 66% of faculty said they faced communication challenges, only 47% of our students felt that way. So it reminded me of that analogy of a duck, where the duck is smooth above the surface and then underwater they're treading. So I feel like our faculty have done a great job with reaching out to students, even if they can feel like the stress or pressure to do so. And referencing the student survey again, we were actually at, our students were at 47% compared to the UHCC average of 50%. So keep that in mind. Also, there were a few write-ins about clarity. So people seeking clarity and information in their guidelines, in what we mean by our definitions. And I think the concepts around, or just having these weekly sessions have really helped folks. And I think we'll do a pulse check coming up just to see if folks feel like this is helpful, or maybe what they're looking for to get that clarity that they need before we start another semester coming up here. And of course, a lot of our faculty are concerned about our students. That came up over and over. Ideas around compensation and workload design, and also just the social distancing and safety. So I think we have that kind of anecdotal data every week where on these calls we hear those concerns coming up, and this was also an issue back in May when the survey took place. The major, so the faculty, I'm so excited to see that more than 20% of our faculty in spring took this survey. So despite all of the challenges and the tight timeline they had to go through and do this, we had 75 people from 36 different subjects take time out of their day to let us know, let the system know what was working, what were the challenges were. So thank you. And of course, that richer data also leads us to statistical significance. So thank you. I did notice right before I hopped on, I just did a check just to see the numbers, compare the percentage who completed the survey versus the makeup of our faculty in spring. So lecturers are a bit underrepresented. Underrepresented. So we had 37% lecturers in spring, and 24% are represented in this survey. And a special thank you to Linda Katsuda for providing the numbers to make this possible. So thank you. I cannot believe that our instructors had to convert on average and about 3 classes. So that's just incredible. And I did make a special shout out to those who have more that they had to convert in spring. It's unbelievable. The 10 most popular subjects for the folks who took the survey are listed here. I didn't put numbers on it just because some of them were, under 5 or around, 5. So I didn't want people to start trying to think of who answered what. But you can get an idea that you can see there's quite a range. As far as the factors of challenging, you'll see that I have extremely challenging, somewhat challenging, and not challenging at all. Those are the numbers represented here. The NAs are not in the chart itself, but they are in the back in a table in the appendix. I put these in order by combining extremely challenging and somewhat challenging, and then going in descending order. So there's the proctored exams for 24 people, that was definitely the most extreme with challenging. But overall, once again, that communication rose to the top. Non-vertically related issues and dedicated workspace. So not much different than what our students faced in terms of trying to find that quiet spaces to study, or worried about things like rent or having someone to help with the children. Okay, so now I'm going to go in a little bit into fall 2020 of balance and preparation. That these seem to be the 2 areas of concern for the faculty who participated in this survey. And I really think this picture illustrates it nicely of us trying to balance something delicate like an egg or multiple eggs. Okay, so once again, the management of face-to-face is going to be concern for many of the faculty.
Girl,
oh, sorry.
Girl.
What's that? Sorry, I think I can't get my chat open right now while I'm presenting. But... oh. Okay, wonderful. So also personal concerns and and students' preference for face-to-face. These are issues that we're concerned. Now, what I did in this one that was missing from the students is making sure to capture the voice of our faculty. So on many of the pages, you'll see in gray writing some of the words from our faculty who took the time to take the survey. So for instance, having Aulani open would be a tremendous help, right? That's one example. Before I go on, are there any questions about this slide?
Just a second. I think Brian needs to go to another meeting, and I'm really sorry. I should have let Brian go first. Can we just hold for a second and let Brian need to update the campus? I'm sorry, Kara. That's my fault for not doing this sooner. So if you could, okay. Sorry. I really interrupted the flow. Brian?
Oh my gosh, what I have to say is much less interesting, and I'm so sorry, Kara. But I just, thank you, Louise. I'll be very, very quick, and I'm sorry to interrupt your presentation. First one, Louise had mentioned it earlier today. I know many of you are still working from home, but just please keep in mind, this is a legitimate threat to Hawaii. Hurricane Douglas, or what I've referred to since I'm a child of the 80s, Dougie Fresh, is coming down, and it's steamrolling, and it looks like it is going to hit land late Sunday or Monday morning. So it's not something you really want to screw around with. On campus-wise, we're going to wait to see, what's going to happen, if it's going to get worse or what, and then we'll implement our preparation plans beginning tomorrow afternoon. So that's Thursday afternoon. Outside of that, there's not much else for you guys to worry about. Just make sure if you are on campus, you shut your louvers, you shut your windows, and things of that nature, because we always lose computers and personal items when people forget to shut their windows. with regard to the build out on the rest of the campus and the moves, this afternoon, Sean is going to be sending out to I think it was close to 20 programs who needed assistance with moving and storing items. This is not including the classrooms now. And so he'll be sending out instructions to you folks on how to label your items, and basically the general rules around them. I just want to remind everyone, if you put something into storage, it is going to not be accessible for essentially one whole school year. Okay, so don't plan on accessing it until next week or next summer. Those containers that everything is going to be stored in are going to be dropped tomorrow. And I want to apologize ahead of time because, yes, it will take some parking, although we expect will be less students anyway. But it'll also be a little bit of an eyesore. Due to construction and due to other reasons, there will have to be one container in Lot E or Lot A, and then 3 containers in Lot C. Again, it's not the prettiest site, but it is essential because we have so much that we need to store. And finally, with regard to the build outs, we continue to plug along. There were approximately 20 people who needed things built out. Sorry, 21 people who needed, 21 offices who needed things built out. And we have done about 7 or 8 of them so far today. So, you know, we're plugging along. We're looking at the second week of, the end of the first week of August to be our deadline to make sure we get everything rolled out. I see a question here about parking passes. Because of COVID, Honolulu CC shut down their print shop to the public. And as a result, we had to go and scramble to find a new vendor. I just signed that the PO last week. So we have that vendor. I can't imagine it's going to be available for us anytime soon. And I know, don't worry about it expiring in the month. I think it's the first week of August 1st is normally when they expire. Don't worry too much about that. Our campus is still closed to the public. So, you know, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And Dave Stevens, I'm sorry, buddy. Every Wednesday, he's always asking me. So I will let you know first, Dave, as soon as I find out when they're available.
There's a question about, can they just be sent out, Brian, rather than having people go down and picking them up?
No, because, wow, can they just be sent out? We still need information to be filled out in the form. We can look into that. I'm not going to say no, but I can't say yes right now. I'm not real sure about the, you know, about the entire process, and I don't want to speak about something until I know for sure. Any word on opening more staff parking? We are going to be opening. This is a careful balancing act that we have to do, that we have to walk every day, because if we open too much and the general public comes here and parks, and then we have a very difficult time of controlling the outside as they enter our campus. There is tons of parking in Lot A every day. I don't look at there every day, but I see Lisa. Lisa, would you say that 75% is still open? So there's quite a bit. And you know, we're going to open Lot C when it comes. But like I said, it's very, very difficult. If any of you would like to strap on a hat or put a badge on, we'd be happy to have your help to remove people from campus. But with a very slim shift of no more than 3 officers on each shift, it does become very, very difficult. But I understand the parking. There is a lot of parking. There is still a lot of parking. Any other questions? Okay, last thing. Please be careful if you're going to sign wave. Please be careful if you're going to sign wave. Do not draw attention to yourself. Do not try to jump out in front of cars or anything like that. I've been involved in more than one situation in which campaigns, or in this case, the campus, will be held liable. So just wave, shoot a shaka, smile, and good luck. Thank you.
Okay, we're still printing our parking passes, right? We're not doing anything electronic.
What was the question, LP?
There's a question about, can we do these parking pass requests electronically, because they're still all paper.
Like I said, let me look into it. All right, guys. Let me, this is the first I'm going to really kind of look into it in terms of changing this process. And I have no problem in changing it, but I don't want to make any commitments before I get an opportunity to talk to the people involved with it.
Understood. Okay, thanks, Brian. Happy meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, back to our originally scheduled programming with Kara Plum Wagoner. Thanks, Kara.
Thank you. I just love how you always pronounce my name so perfectly.
Oh, well.
All right, thank you so much, folks. So any questions before I continue? Okay, wonderful. So we'll go ahead and, okay. So this question was about the preference for how to teach in fall 2020. One comment that didn't make it in the final report was just, I don't have enough information yet in May what I'm going to be doing in August or September. So I think that was maybe a sentiment that other folks had felt as well. But you can see here that just all face-to-face was only 13% of the 71 participants who answered this felt like that was the best method for them coming up. And I don't know if this kind of resonates with the talks that people are having within their departments, but this is what people were thinking back in May. Finally, this was a question about the redesign over summer, and we had 74% of our faculty saying that they were going to be spending time this summer doing the redesign. So I'm really happy that we were able to provide compensation for those who are going to be certified through TOP. And just a shout out to staff or in faculty, of course. This is a direct quote, but just how they've received multiple help many times, and everything has been wonderful that way. Okay, next we're going to get into the professional development over the summer and what people were looking forward to. Now this is quite a list, I know, so I apologize for the length. I put everything that was asked of our faculty in here, so that's why it is quite a few choices. And online tutorials on technical skills, the tech training, as well as professional development. So I think we've done a great job as a campus to bring this to the people. I don't think there's anything left to say. And finally, the class by class. So I kind of wanted everyone to see what folks are thinking about for fall. And now for spring 2020, this is back to how people answer questions based on their classes. So how did they convert their classes? Was it a mix of synchronous and asynchronous, entirely asynchronous, or entirely synchronous? And here you can see that it was for most of the 123 classes, we have a mix of both. And what this means is if a professor had taught Math 88, Math 100, and Math 102, they would be showing up in class 1, class 2, class 3. I thought this was an interesting comment. Someone had said they had offered to do synchronous meetings in Zoom, and the students said, no, that's okay. And then another comment kind of resonating with that theme of concern for students. DSSO students have been struggling in this professor's class, so they made the comment, hey, I worry about supporting them in the future. On technologies, I think the UHCC, they missed the boat a little bit on thinking about what was actually going to be used in classrooms. So there are some options here that I deleted because zero faculty had selected them, like Blue Jeans, I think was an. But it's like advantage of the tools that we have, not for free, that are included in our UH account. So lots of Google work, some Flipgrid, and Edpuzzle was a new one for me that I hadn't seen before. And then, of course, good old-fashioned La Lima, our workhorse, and Zoom. Also, the others, kind of, you can see the popular ones here, and YouTube is another big one. Student participation remained relatively unchanged. And folks really, I think, multiple times have mentioned kind of thinking about our students who really don't maybe not have the same kinds of resources as others. So being really mindful of making sure that we are providing a sense of equity for our students and giving them the tools they need to succeed in an online environment. Learning outcomes in terms of achieving those, it seemed like most people thought, hey, our students, they did about the same as we would have expected. And I think more than once, I saw writing comments about the labs. So I think that one is a really big struggle. And I think that could be an interesting conversation for departments to have with one another, to say, hey, how are you doing labs in fall? What is that going to look like? What, or maybe who really hit it out of the park in spring, and what does that look like for us going forward in our planning for fall? Okay, thank you for making it this far with me. All of the graphs are in, or all the tables are in the appendix. And I was thinking a lot about what Chancellor had said about conversations around data and using it for decision making and more. So if you want to continue the discussion, please reach out to me. You can put in a wonder, a worry, or a wish that you have in the subject line of your email, and then I can get back to you, and hopefully we can find a time for some group discussion around it. And Jamie Sickle and I will be presenting in August at summer camp around that student survey. And this concept came from a workshop that Jamie attended, so thank you so much. Jamie, as always, and thank you all for your time today. I appreciate keeping the conversation going, so let's do that.
Thanks, Kara. This kind of data is really important for prompting conversations, further conversations. This is just a snapshot of some people who chose to respond, but it's a point of departure for lots of better and richer conversations. So thank you, Kara, for making it understandable. And I'd like to turn over the conversation to others from the executive team who have things to share. Carol.
Okay, a couple of announcements. The Kaia'ulu webinar series has two webinars coming up. One on Saturday this time. It's called Ponset Two Ways, and that's at 10 o'clock, and you can find information on the Continuing Ed site. And then the other webinar is on Tuesday, Joy of Savings, Personal Money Management, which is a good thing to do in this time. And that's on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And the final thing I want to mention is that Continuing Ed finally does have some funding available for students to get some assistance with some emergency needs due to COVID-19. And I have a small team of people working on the criteria. And so information will be coming out about that. And so for those of you who are working in CE, please watch for that information. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Any questions for Carol? Don't see. Okay, Noel.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to give two quick updates. Briefly, just touch upon that modified quarantine. There's a lot of questions about it yet, as it just came out last week, and I don't have too much answers to it, as we're probably going to be discussing it this week. I think one big thing to understand, and I'm glad Guy, you brought it up in the chat, is the students wanting the modified quarantine. If you think about it, especially for the international students, there's a lot of steps that need to be taken, including getting these state approved tests. And the one thing that we can count on is the students who want this modified quarantine are the students who want to be in the class. So I think, I mean, looking at what Guy typed out in the chat box for students, instructors to be very flexible within that first 2 weeks. As we know, those international students are coming in at earliest a week before, so they're already going to miss that first week. But we just don't know how this is actually going to work out. So I think the one thing that we can be proactive about is for a lot of our classes that we're teaching to expect that students having to do the 14-day quarantine will miss classes. So if you have any ideas on how you guys can do that, I think to share with your colleagues, that'll be greatly beneficial. I'm going to have some conversation, hopefully this week or next week, with HIC about what we can do for those students, because I know there's some really strict guidelines regarding health documents and also the quarantine. And once we get that settled, I'll also share that with the campus so that we can be on the same page. But not much else about the modified quarantine until we get more information on exactly how it's going to play out. The other thing I wanted to touch upon is our enrollment. So overall, across the CCs and the system, our enrollment has been pretty good. I think if you look at the current number, 4,709 students, so only down 7% as opposed to much higher numbers across the system. As Louise was mentioning, there are multiple people, a lot of people are just helping out in different units and really just trying to help in ways that are not exactly part of their job description, but just wanting to help out the entire campus. So as you see on the web page already, we do have that drop-in hours for students who just kind of come in, drop by, and get an answer. It's staffed by multiple different people, including counselors, people from financial aid, as well as other student affairs people. So if you have students who have been trouble getting an answer, feel free to just share that link with them, and hopefully we can get that answer squared away then. I think that that number of 4,709 will likely go up. I'm pretty sure we'll get pretty close to that 6,000 number or higher. It's just that right now, a lot of our students, I think it's not only registration, they're just unsure if they want to come back right now. Looking at the past 2 Zoom sessions that we had with the Chancellor, with the community, a lot of the questions were basic ones like, are classes offered online or is it in person? So I know it's kind of out there on our website, but the community is just still unsure as to how they want to participate in higher ed. So I assume within the next coming weeks, students will make that decision. I do expect this number to go up. I do thank everybody who is currently helping out, because I think I tried to make that commitment for the next 3 weeks so we can kind of push through this whole summer and try to get started in the fall semester without any more surprises that seem to come on a weekly basis. But to everybody involved, thank you so much for just reaching out and wanting to help, whether it's phone calls or removing health holds or answering emails or sitting in a Zoom session. All of these efforts are extremely appreciated. But thank you all.
Thanks, Noel. Questions for Noel? Oh, good job. Okay, Lisa Raddick, I don't see that David Kingdon is on the call, so Lisa's going to share how the health programs are trying to make sure their students are ready for their clinicals. Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, just a couple of quick updates. First of all, we do have a DE group, distance education group, working our RAD program, our respiratory care program, and our MLT program. We've been approached by Dr. Kelly Withy, who's with AHEC, which is the Area Health Education Center. It's housed in Jabsum. We have interest from Guam, America Samoa, and the Northern Mariana Islands for education to be extended to them. So we're in talks and to see what that might look like. Update on PPE. We're at the point now where we have to provide evidence that other vendors can't meet our needs. Once I have documentation of that, then we can move forward with the purchase. We're getting closer there. So the clinical comeback team, I want to acknowledge the group that has been working on that. It's been led by David Kingdon. But also on that group is Erin Kosecki, Sarah Perkins, Janie Meyer, Mark Namuni, and Sally Pastana. So all of them have worked together and have done some amazing work. So I'm going to, let me bring it up real quick here so I can show you just real briefly what they've worked on. I think it's just amazing. Simply ask them to come up with some basic education and guidelines so our students are prepared to enter the work environment in this situation, and within a pandemic that does change the dynamic of what they'll be doing and how they'll do it. So the only request from our partners at this point, the other hospitals, have asked that our students complete Module 2 that was created by the nursing program at Manoa. That Module 2 is related to PPE. And so with some guidance of asking just for some basic instructions so our students know how to prepare, the group came up with this format that's actually will be and is built in La Lima. So this is just the overall introductory page, and kudos to our instructional design team, because David said he learned so much in the top program and he was able to apply it here, so kudos to you. So this is just the basic page. They have orientation page that they've created, and again it just kind of overview of what will be covered in this real abbreviated course to prepare students for the clinical environment. I was really thankful that they had created the learning outcomes with regard to what they'll be completing. They used the checklist option. This is the video I think many of you may have seen demonstrating the bacterial growth when someone coughs or sneezes or using a mask or without a mask. And just an FYI, our own MLT program is actually coming up with some, hopefully some examples and some video of our own students and our own facility of things that they've done, and we'll hopefully have that to replace in this area. We're hoping that Shepard and his team will have that done within a couple of weeks. And then again, they have links for the students to see the guides for the UH guidelines, as well as the guidelines that we have for our own campus. Then they also provided resources related to state information, and because we have students across all islands, they've made sure to include information for each of the counties. There's also national information for students related to CDC. Johns Hopkins has a lot of great information. And then they took it to the global level as well and included some World Health Organization and the Pacific Disaster Center info. And then we determined that students really need, all students should have some basic understanding. So this is where they created the basic training page. And again, they created the learning outcomes for this. A checklist so the students know, their progress in completing. And then they have a start here area. And this is a really helpful video because it really simply describes what COVID is, what happens in the body. Why are these patients contagious? Why do they get so sick? How is it transmitted? A lot of those types of things. So it's a really just short little, I think it's maybe 8-minute video, but it's really informative. There's also information on donning and doffing of PPE, appropriate ways to put it on and take it off so that you don't contaminate yourself. This one I really enjoyed. I had no idea there were this many versions of facial hair growth in the styles. If you have a circle beard or a toothbrush, but anyway, when you wear PPE, it will be, there will be an effect with being safer based on the facial hair that you have if it interrupts the seal of the mask. But then they also have additional information. So this is the required module from Manoa. And again, it just goes into more information about PPE. And once students complete that, they earn a certificate that they can show that they've actually completed it. And that will be evidence that will be required for them to be able to enter the clinical environment. And then there's an additional course that the team found from WHO, the World Health Organization. And then again, they have some general expectations here for our campus. And what is really important is they also are gathering information from our health partners. So each of our individual health organizations are providing what their expectations are for students, so we can put it all in this one spot. So it'll all be housed in one area. So all of our students will have access. And this is something that we can simply enroll all of our students in this course that they can take. And then they've got it built so that each of our health programs have the opportunity to have their own specific track. So if they have specific information for their program, they can then build it here and students can walk themselves through the requirements for their individual program. And that's kind of it in a quick version, but a lot of great work. I really want to commend the team. They went well beyond what my expectations were, and it's very comprehensive. And Sarah Perkins and I will do a demonstration of this to our partners next Friday morning once the team has an opportunity to complete this. Our nursing group and I are on a call on Friday mornings with our health partners. And we, updates as far as getting students in the clinical environment. So we obviously want their feedback on this. I think it'll be very favorable. I think it's the most comprehensive training that anyone has proposed at this point. So I'm really proud of this team. And just as an FYI, the health science group has turned the sign waving into just a bit of a competition. So Neva, it's on. So we're challenging you on Friday with our corner.
Okay, and no distracting.
No distraction. We will be good.
No, the reason is if you're distracting the drivers and there's an accident, you'll be liable. We don't want that.
Right. No, we will be good, but we will outnumber them.
Shaka, that's it. No spinning, no dancing on the sidewalks. Thank you very much, Lisa. Questions for Lisa at all?
Yeah, how are you going to get Lisa to not draw attention to herself?
I don't know. You guys got to figure that one out. Naval, you're next, actually. Go ahead. You got the floor.
It's a 2-for-1 Lisa day. Just so you know, Monday, it's a 2-for-1 Lisa day, so good luck with that.
What would you like to share, Naval? Your turn.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to start the next step for classrooms. So we're pretty much done with moving whatever. We have a few that crawled in today that are moving to online from hybrid or face-to-face. But so what we're gonna start doing is looking at where these classrooms are. And we're gonna start going in and setting up the classroom so faculty at least know what their classroom is gonna look like. Lisa's idea was that we should take a picture and send it to the faculty just so they know what the arrangement in the classroom will look like. And one thing we're kind of worried about is, so example, Kalia has 7 classrooms in the building. If a classroom can hold maybe 10 students and all of the classes will be happening at 9:15 to 10:30, that means we're gonna have to figure out a way to move 70 students in the building at the same time. So we'll be looking at maybe if there's a lot of students in one building at the same time, maybe trying to move them to another building just so we can help support social distancing in that way. But we're gonna start tomorrow. So in the event anybody knows of faculty or colleagues that are kind of worried about what their classroom will look like, just send me their names. So once we get a picture, we can send it to them. I know there's one class that that faculty is the only person in that class for the whole semester. So, and it's an art class. So kind of asking her what would be the best way for her to teach her class. And their max enrollment is 15. So just trying to help out faculty. The administrators are going to get together tomorrow and start walking through the buildings. And then placing furniture outside for extra furniture that I think in Kalia upstairs, we kind of did it, but there's usually 35 that goes into a classroom. And I think it got down to 18. So there's all this extra furniture that some we might have them move it into the containers, but some we might just leave in there, but just making more space for the instructor and the students in the classroom. That's all.
Okay. Questions for Naval? Okay, I draw attention to Sheldon's post changing sign waving day to Friday instead of Monday, so we don't have to deal with potential hurricanes. So if you're signed up, it's going to be July 31st. So
The only problem is then Nava'a and I have a conflict because our ELT meeting is at noon.
Well, this is 11 to 1, so you can do 11 o'clock, sign waving, right, Sheldon? Okay, so it's on, you guys. You can still have your competition. Sheldon, you want to say something?
Yeah, Nava paid me some cash, Lisa, to change the
Yeah.
date.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would
so you
not
know.
doubt it.
Okay, that's it for updates. So what questions do you have from the field that maybe we can answer and maybe not, but we'll try?
Quick question for Lisa about that Laulima site. Have you published that? And is that going to be only available for health science students? I mean, it seems like it has a lot of really great information for anyone and everyone who may want to review videos or look at protocols. My secretary just asked how to get access to it. So I told her you probably need to publish it first.
Right, yeah, it's not done yet. They still have content that they want to populate, and I know that the members of the team, I believe, are collecting information from other programs. So once it's completely done and published, I'm going to leave it to others, you know, how they want to, or if they want to access. Yeah, they went well beyond my expectations, and it is such a comprehensive site. I think many could benefit from it. So once it's done, we'll discuss how to get it. But yeah, it was intended just for health science students, but by all means, if others want access, I'm sure we could arrange it.
Sheila, the question about children on campus, we did talk about it earlier. So there is no existing system-wide or campus policy on children on campus. I would discourage having any children on the campus except under very extreme conditions. If there are employees whose children's DOE schedule makes it really crazy and they're going to be home on some days, they should work from home if they can. And if they are going to work from home, if they can, they should also update their work plan because those work plans were done in March and we do want them to be current. And that goes for anybody who's working from home. Should update their work plan. If it is students whose kids are going to be all over the place because of the DOE schedule, then they should try to do online classes as much as they can so that they are free to take care of their kids. And if they are not, they're in hybrid classes or something, then the students should really talk to their instructors. If employees have children who are going to be home because of the DOE scheduling and they cannot work from home, then they should connect with HR about doing FFCRA, which is a special kind of leave for people who are in that situation.
It's more for labs.
No, we should not have children in labs.
The dental lab.
Where there's equipment that's dangerous, no, you should not have children in those spaces.
Well, actually, they'll be in the classroom space, but the parent will be in the lab.
Parents should have their kids within eyesight at all times. They have to be under supervision. You can't just dump a kid somewhere and walk away.
Yeah. I mean, it's within the same space, but anyway, we'll have to tell them no. Yeah, then we might lose some students. Yep.
Is Alani going to open up? Good question. I don't know. That's the HCC thing, right? Honolulu is in charge of the of Alani, so I don't know, but I will ask for you. Note to self, ask Karen Lee. I'm guessing they're going to have to, I don't know. Those students are doing practicums in there, so. Alfie, you're saying yes? Yep. Okay. Well, they're going to be open when school starts. Is that what it is, Alfie? All right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Other questions? Sheldon, do you know when high schools start school and what their schedules look like?
Have you guys been watching the news like last night? It's a circus. And so, much like nationwide, they want to push back the start date. But to the best of my knowledge, talking to my colleagues in the DOE, it's the week of August 4th in some form or fashion. And so I believe freshmen will start on the 4th, and they are going to gradually bring in the upperclassmen as the week progresses. As you've been reading in the news, the first 2 weeks is dedicated to making several adjustments. I guess getting students accustomed to the new design. And I believe it's like the week of the 17th, it's their whatever schedule that they are putting out there. And kind of what I mentioned at the AAC meeting the other day, what's going to be overwhelming is each school has its own unique hybrid schedule. And so for families who have, like, say, KCC with kids in different schools, it's going to be a ton of fun because some schools will have virtual learning on Fridays, some is on Wednesdays. I've heard like Heiser will only have, I think, 20% of their students on campus. I think Roosevelt was 50. Some have 4 rotating groups. Some will just have 2. And so good times ahead.
Crazy times. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, they're all on different clocks, all on different schedules, all doing their own thing. So it's going to be crazy. But our early college classes are going on our schedule with our faculty on our guidelines. So we are exempt from that craziness. Other questions or announcements that folks would want to make in the last 3 minutes that we have?
Hi, Chancellor. This is Sean. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I came in about 5 minutes after we started, so I might have missed this, and forgive me if I'm asking the same question here. But the recent regulations regarding the bubble quarantine that was released from President Lasner's office, there are a few things in there that were a little concerning. I guess we're going to go over this with Noel. But there were things such as monitoring and so forth. And I was wondering if monitoring, because it would seem to me that the larger population of perhaps, either U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and so forth, students that are traveling back from continental U.S. to Hawaii, is probably larger than our international student population that also needs to be regulated. I'm wondering if there is some sort of thought on system-wide or campus-wide approach to how we are going to be monitoring these students. The second question is with regards to transportation. I think in there it also says that students shouldn't be doing share rides, students shouldn't be taking the bus, which is a primary vehicle for our international students coming to campus. I suppose we can advise them on that, but I wanted to get your thoughts on those 2 areas.
Right now, the monitoring is in discussion. There is no direct way right now. There is in development, there's an app that we are expecting employees and students to use on a daily basis. It's self-check. Did I travel? Do I have a fever? That kind of stuff. And you would do it through an app. And somebody would have to be monitoring that if there's a yes answer, that we would be able to track somebody. The monitoring and the tracking and the compliance with that app or the bubble quarantine is still not finalized. I asked that it be somebody at the system level because I don't want folks whose job it is not to, this is nobody's job right now. And it's going to be really crazy trying to monitor this and track the students. So I suggested that it should be somebody at the system, but it's not somebody at the system's job either. So how are they going to do it? I don't know. But I didn't want to be doing it. And I didn't want anybody on my campus to be doing it. But right now, Sean, there is no answer at this today. Might be tomorrow, I don't know. But today I don't have an answer about whose responsibility it will be to follow up, to call the students. Are you home? I've also suggested, ankle bracelets like those people who are on house arrest, but nobody took me up on that either. GPS, your phone could tell you where, anyway. So there is no answer right now, Sean. And yes, if they're going to do the bubble quarantine, they are supposed to be getting from the airport to their residence in a taxi by themselves or in an Uber by themselves. I don't know how you'd know that either.
Louise,
Yeah.
did you, I know in our meeting previous to this, you talked about the Kulia scholarship. Did you already talk about that?
Yep.
Sorry.
But I didn't name it. So it's the Kulia Scholarship. Maybe I did. The Kulia Scholarship for people who were previously employed in a full-time job and then since March have been let go for whatever reasons. We are offering $500 scholarships. No FAFSA required, only documentation that they lost their job or they're on furlough and they want to come back to school. Thanks for asking again.
I'm just going to answer some quick questions because I got a lot of emails about that already.
Okay.
Again, this is a potential student would have to have lost their job or furloughed with it since fall 19 or through now. So they're going to need proof of that eventually. The other one is the student cannot be enrolled since fall 18.
Right.
So again, the students who are enrolled in the spring semester, unfortunately, according to what I'm reading online, they're not eligible, but I'll seek additional clarification. So we're looking at a very specific group of students potentially coming back to college because they haven't attended since fall 2018. So I think that's why there's such a small number of scholarships, and it's because it's coming from a very specific type of fund.
Right. And the bubble quarantine is not just for international students, it's for any students who've been out of state and coming back.
Also, the Kapiolani Community College is not providing any shuttle service to the college or testing sites. Sorry, as you guys are typing, I gotta make sure I clarify.
Liquid policies, we have no concrete policies, only liquid ones that change.
We do have something concrete. Jamie Sickles post in the chat. Kapilani Summer Camp is on for early August.
Yes.
Please sign up, participate. Additional opportunity for professional development activity. Improve your courses, improve yourself.
Thank you. Bye, Shannon. Shannon has a whole team of people helping her make calls to returning students. I got to do 5. I bailed. I had 25 to do, I only did 5. Sorry. Okay, anything else? We're 3 minutes over time.
Virtual office hours for faculty is now working on star balance.
Thank you, Susan. Anything going once? Dave, Evans, nothing? Okay. All right then. Thanks for being here, you guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. This is a really difficult time. I really appreciate all your patience and your willingness to stick in and really help each other. So let's stay positive and we will reconvene next week, Wednesday, unless something comes up sooner. So have a great week. See you next week. Bye, guys. You can unmute and say goodbye.
Bye.
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 Shoot.
Bye. 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 Bye.